Okay, now I'm back, and I think we're right. I flipped my phone too fast the last time, so my orientation was off, but I think I got it now. So, good morning. I am Chrissy Hannes coming to you again from Florida. I am going to be working with the hand-pinned suite of products today. This is in our brand new annual catalog. And I will be featuring the Stamparatus. This is the card we're going to make. And I'm only using it to stamp my image. We've had numerous techniques here this morning shown exactly everything the Stamparatus can do. Carol just showed us a great way to use it to build a wreath. I'm just going to use it. I also use my grid paper a lot that comes for Stamparatus. I use it a lot on my foam mat so that I keep my foam mat cleaner. So this is the project that we're making today. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Our card base is Highland Heather, and this is 5.5 by 8.5 scored in the middle, or 14.9 by 21 centimeters. So let me get my bone folder here. I'm just gonna, well, that blocks my name. I'll set this off right there. There we go. Okay, get my bone folder and give my card base a nice crease. And then I have a piece of this beautiful designer series paper that is part of this suite of products. This paper in this is gorgeous. I've used this paper quite a bit already for numerous occasion cards. So this is just your standard layer, 4 by 5.25 or 14.4 by 10 centimeters. And I'm trying to, good morning everybody, and thanks for joining me. Thanks Joy, I was crooked before, so I decided to fix it before we got going. And then I also have an extra strip of this designer series paper that's about the width of your envelope so that we can decorate our envelope flap. Okay, so then my wisp, I have a basic black layer that is 3 3/4 by 5 or 13.9 by 9.5 centimeters, and then where we're going to stamp and do our reverse mask technique is 3.5 by 4 3/4 or 13.4 by 9 centimeters. And I will put all of these dimensions in my, when I do my picture in my link to my video, I will add those in the comments. So this is where I was telling you yesterday, I used the second largest circle in our layering circles dies, and this is just a piece of flimsy copy paper. That's all that is. And we're going to do a reverse mask. So on this layer here, and vellum would work too. You just want to make it so that you put your circle and you can kind of see through this copy paper, and then you're going to flip it over, make sure you've got it where you want your circle. And then this is the back of the cardstock, so if it rips a little bit, it's not going to be a big deal because we're going to layer it. I just take a couple pieces of Scotch tape and I adhere it to my mask so that it doesn't move around and that I get a perfect circle. Okay, and then we are going to do what is called the reverse mask technique. So I think Carol just did some masking on hers. I didn't catch her whole video, but we're going to do reverse mask. So this is our cardstock underneath and this is our mask. Okay, so we're going to bring in our blending brush and our pale papaya ink pad. Like, this is probably one of my favorite new in colors. I really can't choose which one I like the best. And I'm going to put some ink on my blending brush like this. I use circular motion. Some people tap. I really think it's personal preference. But then I don't want all of that ink on it first, so I'm going to rub some of it off here. This is why I have my grid paper out. And then I'm going to start off the circle, and then I have the lightest touch on here. It's very, very light. And I'm just moving in a circular motion I always tell people, and I tell my class attendees, you can always add more ink. You cannot take ink away. So light touches. You can always add more ink. You cannot take it away. Once it's on there, it's on there. And we're just going to blend in this circle. Until we think it's the color we want. Because you don't want to remove your mask because we need it to stamp our image as well. Okay, I think I'm going to make it a little bit darker on this one side over here. There we go. And in the middle, I'm just going to make it nice and bold. There. So each one of these is going to turn out different, basically just how you're using your blending brush. Okay, so there we have that, and you'll see how that finishes out. Carla, I do agree there are several stamp sets you can use the masking technique with and the reverse masking. And we're going to bring in our Stamparatus. And like I said, I'm just using it to stamp my image today so I could show you guys the Stamparatus if you don't own it. And I'm going to get our stamp. We're going to use this big flower image from the hand pen suite. And I know numerous people have told you guys how powerful our magnets are, that you don't want to make them join together. Well, I learned that the hard way the other night. I've had this since the Stamparatus came out, and these are my first magnets, and I finally broke them together. So they are very powerful. Don't let them touch. I'm going to put my stamp set underneath here so that my plate lays nice. I do have my foam mat in because this is a photopolymer stamp set. And we are just going to put our cardstock and copy paper on here. I also like to use the grid lines to line this up. I have actually, somebody in my team member did this, laminated all of our Stamparatus grid papers for us. So that's lovely because then it just wipes off. Okay, and then we'll take our other magnet and stick it up there in the corner. And then I'm just going to lay my stamp set in here of how I want it stamped, because part of it is going to come off. It's not all going to fit. This is why we left our mask on like that. And then I'm going to bring the Stamparatus down to it and pick up my stamp. And it does, these photopolymer stamps sometimes just move your cardstock just a little bit. So that's why I said I like to use the grids to line them up. And we're going to bring in some Memento ink. And ink this up with Memento ink. Oh, good, Cindy. I'm glad that's a tip you hadn't heard, to laminate your grid paper. I like it because it just wipes off. It's really easy. I love this little grid paper. I use it a lot. I just don't have to use it in my Stamparatus. And we're just going to ink this down. If you don't, and give it a good press. If you don't get a good image, it's in the same spot. We can just redo it. But I think that looks pretty darn good. So we're going to be good with that. Don't touch your magnets together. I'm going to take that off. So like I said, I just use this basically just to stamp my image today, to make sure to show you guys how the Stamparatus works. I'm actually using the Stamparatus in my card class today as well. So, all right, so there's that. So now we can take and move our Stamparatus out of the way. And our stamp set, we don't need that. And now we can remove our copy paper mask. And like I said, if your paper tears a little bit, it's not going to be the end of the world. This is the back of the basic white cardstock. And that is what you're left with, a perfect circle and your beautiful stamped image inside of it. Carla, that is, I mean, it does work if you line it up in the corner too. but depending on the stamp set you're using, and if you don't have the proper layers, sometimes that corner can interfere with how your stamped image comes out. So I like to just use the grids on my paper, but everybody has their own method, and that's what's neat about it. We're using the Stamparatus in class today to stamp the big butterflies from Butterfly Brilliance, and also we're going to do a hinge step card. So we're using it for 2 cards in my class today. Okay, so see that tore a little bit, but that's okay because it's going to be hidden. Take that off. There we go. Okay, so there's our beautiful stamped image. And now I do need to bring my foam mat back in with my grid paper so that we can stamp our sentiment on here, and we'll stamp our sentiment for the inside layer as well. So on our outside layer, we're just going to write stamp congratulations. I got a hair on my stamp. There we go. My stamp is all sticky. I want to make sure this is straight before I pick it up. Okay, and then we're going to open our Memento ink once again. And we're just going to stamp congratulations, and we're going to pray it turns out because that's beautiful and I don't want to redo it. I'm just going to right below that circle. That's pretty good. And then our inside is your standard basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4 or 14 by 0.4 by 10 centimeters. And on the inside, we're going to stamp anything is possible. I think those are 2 good sentiments that pair well together. And then the inside of our card is not naked. Okay, so that is all the stamping we need to do. Now we just need to assemble our card. So we're going to bring in our pieces back in here. All right, and we have, I thought I'd lost my card base, but I found it. Okay, so we're going to use, my choice of glue is Tombow glue down here in Florida. Everybody has their preference. I like my Tombow. You can use whatever glue you want. If you decide to make a version of this card, whether it's with the same stamp set I used or a different one, I would love for you to share it in the group so others can see it. I'm just going to layer my designer series paper on there. And this is not, I don't think that's pale papaya in that paper, but we covered most of it up, and I like how pale papaya and Highland Heather go together. It's fun when we first get new in colors to see what they pair with besides the color family, you know, the other 4 colors. And it's fun to play with them and learn different colors that they go well with. Pale papaya goes with quite a few colors that I've played with. Now I'm just going to layer our stamped and masked onto this basic black layer, and then I have the Highland Heather sparkle ribbon, that's what I call it, glitter ribbon, and I'm going to just put that below that congratulations and wrap it around the back. And to hold it in place, I use a little bit of Stampin' Seal on each side to just hold this in place. And wrap that around both sides. I cut too much ribbon, but I don't like it to be so close that I struggle for it to wrap. So I just trim off the excess after I get it glued down. Okay, and then this will get popped up with dimensionals onto our card front. Right. I probably go overboard when I use my dimensionals, but I don't like my images to sag. I like them to be as sturdy as possible, especially when I'm going to mail the card. The post office can be sometimes picky, and if it's too bulky or, you know, doesn't have the same dimension across it, you could require extra postage. And then I like to use the pokey end of my take your pick tool to pick off my dimensional backings. You usually do about 5 or 6 of them on there before it gets too thick and you got to remove them and keep going. But it makes it nice and easy to poke these off of there. There we go. Oh, good, Joy. So I'm not alone in my dimensional use. That's good to know. And then we're just going to center this like so. Put that on there. I also decided to use the pastel pearls that were part of the hydrangea suite in the mini catalog, but they are carrying over. And I just put one on each side of the congratulations. Like that. And then we're going to adhere the inside layer. My glues. Giving me some issues this morning. Okay. And put that down inside. Like that. So there's our card. And then, like I said, I took an extra piece of, let me stand up and look. I think I'm still going. It's just on my computer it's showing. If not, I guess I'll pop back on. So I put some Tombow, and then I take and I line the edge up on the top of that flap of the envelope. And I just adhere it down. I like to decorate my envelopes. One, it helps me to use my paper. We all buy this beautiful paper and then hoard it, and that doesn't do us any good. And then I just come in with a scissor and trim the excess off. But this is a good way to use your DSP. My theory is I can always buy more of it. But this way I actually use my paper. Oh, I dropped my envelope. You froze a bit. Okay, thank you, Angie. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know. Might have had a power surge or something. Okay, and there's our pretty envelope to match our card, like that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my presentation today. I hope that you enjoy everybody else's. I have some catching up to do and watch the UK ladies because I was sleeping, and I've missed a few this morning taking care of the kiddos. But I hope that you enjoyed my presentation using the hand-pinned suite from the new annual catalog. Angie is up next for you at 11:30, so she will give us another great project as well. I hope you guys have a great Saturday. If you want to take part of our show special, contact the demonstrator that invited you to get your order placed to earn that free PDF, and I will see you guys the next time around. Bye. Have a great day.